Let's do this. Welcome everybody to the Halloween special of Colton Cast.
Welcome everybody. Happy Halloween. How you doing? How you doing? You smell fine today, by the way.
You smell fine today?
I don't know, man. We've not recorded this
Why
podcast
was
in
that
forever.
the greeting you wanted to come in with?
It was just,
That's
we
weird.
haven't recorded this podcast in like a month now, alright?
It's been a week!
No, it's been 2 weeks, thank you very much. And they didn't get to
I don't.
see that episode.
Yeah, we recorded an episode. It was so utterly dog ass. It's never coming out of the vault.
And that's why
Maybe
episode
when we
8
don't-
took so
maybe-
long to release. Which we couldn't get episode 9 recorded.
Anyways, Colton, my friend, what have I planned out
What have
for
you
this
planned out?
for this
What have
very
you planned
special
out? Okay,
episode?
yeah. Okay, so
I've done all the
TGP
planning. I picked out all these stories.
TGP a year ago before we even started this podcast said, what if for Colton Cash 9 we read creepypastas, even though it was even though it is captured on Colton Cast that I started reading Lavender Town Syndrome, and you're like, let's save this for later.
That's literally not at all how that went. I came to you on my hands and knees begging,
What?
please, Colton, can I plan one special thing for the episode of the podcast? And you looked down at me and you went, sure. And then I decided we should read some scary, spooky stories for the Halloween season. And that is what we are doing. You're stealing my thunder. I'm leaving.
Okay, welcome to Colton Cast. Today.
Yeah, welcome to Worst Creepcast. This is what this is.
What?
It's Worst Creepcast. Think about it.
Okay, so
We read spooky stories.
So
we talk about penises. I don't think that happens.
No, we do. That happens. Wait, okay.
No, it doesn't happen on Creepcast.
Okay.
As much as I know.
So-
Anyways,
So, for what I'm seeing from the image of Rap Rat,
you want to read Rap Rat first?
no, we're starting with Rap Rat, but the image of Rap Rat, it's
Okay.
so goofy looking.
I'm pretty
You
sure
got-
that's a real thing. First off, let's introduce the stories
Okay.
that we picked out and what we're planning to do. So I'll let you go first. Colton, my friend, what creepypasta did you pick out?
I picked out Pokemon Lost Silver because it is like the thing that creeped me the hell out as a kid and just left an everlasting impact on my life. So I was like, if we're going to do one creepypasta, it has to be Lost Silver. There's nothing else I could
Hell
do that would
yeah.
just be perfect for me because that is like the thing I grew up on. I was obsessed with it
Hell
back in the day,
yeah.
but I would not be able to sleep after reading it.
Ooh, obsessed.
Oh yeah, I used to be a creepypasta
This
maniac.
story's a little bit special to you, I
Oh, yeah.
see.
Very special to me.
Well, I picked out Rap Rat because when this story has stuck in my mind since I first read it when I was like 8.
Crazy.
I was fresh out of the womb and I saw this story and I was like, uh-oh. And like the main thing in the story is you can't say the name Rap Rat. And so for the longest time, my brain just like kind of tried to block that word out of my vocabulary.
I remember.
Not that I ever said it, but
I remember.
I just couldn't bring myself to say it.
I remember in the Sunshine episode, I think you mentioned Rap Rat. Like we were talking about like the picture of the girl cutting her wrist on like the toy, and then you mentioned Rap Rat. Which, by the way, that's something we could talk about later if we don't have enough time left.
Yeah, that's a fun little side tale for all you uninitiated viewers
go
out
watch
there.
Sunshine Let's Play. Be aware it sucks donkey balls. At least the first few episodes do.
not. You're
It
weird.
gets a bit better near the end.
Your dad gets a bit better
Okay.
when I go, the deeper I go into him.
Okay, and
Sorry.
then what are we going to read at the very end?
We both jointly picked out the cool story Abandoned by Disney. We're only reading the first part of it because apparently there's like 15 parts of the story. We're only reading Abandoned by Disney.
Yeah, Abandoned by Disney.
We're not reading Room Zero or Corruptus or
No,
whatever.
Corruptus is a pretty cool story on its own. I can't lie. I love Room Zero. and
I've
Corruptus.
never heard about any of these.
Yeah, hopefully it's just...
We can save that for next episode.
Yeah, next Halloween. Be ready for that. The Abandoned by Disney episode. We're going to get sued.
Alright, so the way we're doing this is whoever picked out the creepypasta, the other person's gonna read it. So I'm gonna read Colton's Lost Silver creepypasta,
And I'm gonna
he's
be
gonna
reading
read
Rap
Rap Rat, and we're gonna take turns at Abandoned by Disney.
This is gonna be the best.
The way you want to start.
Do you want to start or should I start? Because it is Colton cast. So I think I train.
I can start once the train passes by.
I think I'll start with Rap Rat just so we get into the meaty of it. You know.
Yeah. That is a loud train.
Yeah, it's a haunted
outside.
train.
I don't know if it's a haunted train.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters reference.
Okay. Rap Rat, the terror
Ba-boom.
begins. Ever heard of a nightmare? No.
Okay, story ends. Roll credits.
Like a lot of other games in the 90s. Nightmare's a game.
Yeah, Nightmare is an actual thing.
Wait, is it like an actual
and that's
game
what
that
makes the
came out?
story cool, because some of the stuff is real.
Nightmare game. Hold on, let me see. Not Little
We can buy it.
Nightmares. What was it for? Is it 90s?
Nightmare board game.
Oh, it's board game. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. We should do that for do that for a Colton and Friends episode. We play Nightmare and summon Rap Rat at 3 a.m.
Rap Rats, I'm pretty sure, are actual thing too.
Oh, cool.
Rap Rat board game. Yeah, it's a thing.
Oh, there's a Rap Rat board game. Okay. No, not FNAF. What the hell? I just saw Freddy Fazbear making out with Springtrap.
Okay, man. Read the story.
A Rap Rat board game. I want to see this. So this is like based off real stuff.
Oh my liberal hell. We have one job, and it's to read, and you can't even do that.
I'm just very interested in this. Like, it's just a real board game. It's just all based off.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
things.
It's crazy.
Okay.
Fred the stupid loser? What?
What? That's my autobiography. Ever heard of Nightmare? Like a lot of other games in the 90s, it came with the VHS, which you timed with your play. The character on the video would give you instructions on what to do while you played the game in real time. Being a scaredy cat, I refused to play it when my mom bought it for us.
You can do it.
My brother was disappointed and fudge, man. My brother was disappointed about not being able to play it, but my mom had a solution. She brought out Rap Rat, which is this silly little rat guy. He looks like, shoot, dude, shoot, man.
Also
I
the
kissed
name for my
sister.
penis. What are you literally
This
saying?
this is an Alabama rat. He kisses his sister. It was a cheap, dingy little what? It was a cheap, dingy little thing catered to kids my age. You went around the board, collected cheese, and the first player to reach the end could win. It seemed simple enough, and since it reminded us of Mousetrap, which we didn't have, there were no objections. Okay, objections like objection. Okay, we popped the movie to the VHS and set up the board. The first part of the video is a simple explanation of the rules as well as instructions on how the game worked. Then the Rap Rat came onto the TV. He was not what any of us had expected. My smaller brother, who was only 3 at the time, immediately left the room crying. The rat did not even resemble a rat. The ears were too big, and had a mouth lined with 2 teeth, the inside of which looked like almost swollen. The most striking part about the thing, though, was its eyes. They were large, glassy, and fish-like. I asked when bothered. My mind blanked. I asked when bothered, then begged.
I asked, then bothered, then begged.
I asked, then bothered, then begged my mom to turn it off. Rap Rat suddenly shouted loudly, screaming and wailing, saying, "Where's your turn?" in a demonic, low-pitched voice that was not at all like his normal, obnoxious, nasal voice. In the background, we could hear the narrator saying, "He's Rap Rat, and he's the boss," over and over again in an overly serious tone. That was not the... I don't know why I went Joker there. You wanna know how I got these scars?
Rap Rat, he's the boss.
You know how I got these scars?
My father.
Rap Rat. We're saying Rap Rat a rot.
A rot. We're saying Rap Rat a rot.
I'm killing myself.
It's fine. Oh, yeah.
Okay. The video was indescribable. Images crossed the screen in quick succession, saying, "Hail Santa."
What?
Overcut with...
That's not even the thing.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, images cross the screen in quick succession, like satanic stuff. Overcut with Rap Rat's expressionless eyes. The image were some things I was afraid of at the time. A person looking over a balcony, a hornet slowly stinging someone's eye, an extreme close-up of a tarantula, a pit full of wreathing cobras, and...
Writhing.
Writhing, okay.
That's a big word for you, I know.
And a bloody syringe filled with green fluid. It's my cum.
Thank you all so much for joining this Halloween episode of Colton Cast. We wish you all a Merry Halloween.
A Merry Christmas.
Goodbye.
We immediately turned the video off and ran out of the room screaming, slamming the door behind me. It took my mom 20 minutes to convince me that the video was gone, that I would never, ever see it again. I had nightmares all week about Rap Rat. That was his TGP. That wasn't the last time I saw Rap Rat. Well, my girlfriend and I were preparing to
You
move
tried to
in
do
together.
a joke, but it fell so hard.
Shut up. That wasn't the last time I saw Rap Rat. While my girlfriend and I were preparing to move in together, I was cleaning out the closet of my room and found it again, with the same VHS and the same board game inside. It was almost perfectly intact, save for a thick layer of cobwebs and dust bunnies on top of it. This was strange. Didn't my mother get rid of it? And what was it doing in my room? I let out a bit of a gasp when I found it, and my girlfriend came into the room asking what was the matter. Breathing harshly, I said, Rap Rat. See, that's the way the TGP said it to me when he first told me about this.
It's actually not at all.
He was like, Rap.
You're just making stuff up.
Rap Rat.
I don't wear hockey pads.
She laughed a bit, asking if it was a joke. I shook my head and explained that it wasn't. She didn't believe me. Nobody did. I decided that the only way to prove it was to show her the video and summon the rat. Which is the same thing I say about summoning Chuck E. Cheese at 3 a.m. I borrowed my neighbor's...
What are you
Shut
saying?
up. I borrowed my neighbor's VHS
Okay.
and played the video for her. And I got a burp. Oh, that hurt.
Ooh, that was a good burp. I'm proud of you.
I borrowed my neighbor's VHS and played the
Can we
video
all
for
clap
her.
for? Can we all clap for him?
Thanks,
Good job,
you guys.
good burp.
I couldn't get here without my mummy.
I couldn't have done it without my mom, my dad,
Yeah.
the cheeseburger I ate 3 hours ago.
And not a hamburger helper. I borrowed my neighbor's VHS and shut up. I borrowed my neighbor's VHS and played the video for her. However, the images had changed. I saw a clown, his nose bursting and spraying blood onto the screen. I saw a woman alone in a dark room. I saw a man being forced to pick up white-hot metal and hold it in his outstretched hand, turning his hand to a leathery mess. The scratching I heard as a child continued, picking up, getting louder and louder. Then Rap Rat showed up and began twisting and convulsing its arm, thrusting this way and that. The costume wasn't a costume anymore. The felt was a real fur. Ooh. Its face was...
His mom just recorded this in the basement.
Yeah, this is just her kink, you know, she's really into rats.
That would be... What the hell? That would be crazy.
Its face was in plastic, but instead a bristle of thorns with teeth.
There you go.
The eyes turned inwards and suddenly popped out again. That's goofy. Rap Rat's huge fish, his big meaty cock.
Big meaty claws.
Rap Rat's huge fish eye were... Rat's huge... God, this is tongue twister.
You can do it. We believe in you.
Rap Rat's...
How are you more dyslexic than I am?
Rap Rat's huge fish eyes were inside out, staring right at me, watching my every move, my every expression. It grinned widely and gestured at my girlfriend and I with a single outstretched human hand. What? Oh, my girlfriend and I with a single outstretched and human hand. Okay. It was I read and I with a like this was what he was doing. Anyway.
Yeah, he's doing that.
Yeah, totally. I could hear the faintest scratching at my front door. The TV went blank and showed static. The scratching got louder. It wasn't scratching anymore, but thumping. A thumping of of tiny feet on wood. My girlfriend embraced me in fear, and my senses kicked in. Before anything else happened, I stopped the video, ejected it, and unplugged the VHS. The scratching stopped. When I looked out the living room window, nothing was there. The police The police showed up soon after, warning us that the neighbor had seen a figure outside our door and had called in the concern. My girlfriend and I simply couldn't explain what had happened and had to tell the police officer that it was us. I was furious that a children's game was terrifying me. I went to pick up the tape, but the VHS had burned my hand. It felt like I had touched a Bunsen burner on the highest setting. We had to get the oven mitts from the kitchen in order to take it out, and even then, it was scorching hot. I brought it outside, tossed it down the sidewalk, and crushed it with my winter boots. Afterwards, my girlfriend and I had dreams every night. We would both wake up in the middle of the night and describe eerily similar images that we saw in our sleep. The scratching would always be there. When lights were off and the room was pitch black, save for the moonlight coming in through the window. Now, though, it would happen every time I went near the front door. And every time we said Rap Rat's name, it sounded as if something very small was dragging something across the ground outside of the door, pacing, waiting. I would simply wait myself, with the covers pulled up to my neck, until I succumbed to exhaustion. At this point, I was determined to sue the company for damages. The first thing I did was call my mother and ask her where she got Rap Rat. She had no idea. I found a merchant who sold versions of Rap Rat and asked how I could get in touch with the company. He sent me this email. I don't know about the games, but I know it was created by the same people who created Nightmare. The company is called A Couple of Cowboys. Try them. I did a bit of research and discovered that the company became defunct in 1994, only 2 years after they created Rap Rat. I discovered why soon after.
Ooh, different how Rap Rat came to be. Ooh, big NFL. Blah, blah, blah.
So we have a lot of. Okay, we're almost done now. All right.
Yeah, we're about there.
How Rap Rat came to be. In 1992, the year of the game's development, a couple of cowboys commissioned a manufacturing company in Haiti? Haiti, okay. Haiti, Peru, my bad.
Haiti. You are dumb.
I haven't paid attention to Animaniacs, okay? To create the doll portrayed in the game, the company who created the puppet ran a sweatshop, and they forced women and children to produce various components of the puppet, including the felt and
Hell
plastic
yeah,
of
the
doll.
American dream.
Hell yeah, this is what Elon Musk dreams he could do.
The USA!
God bless. I love
God bless!
I love overworking my Chinese little boys.
I have 10 Chinese boys
Anyway.
in my kitchen right now.
They're making you a sandwich or something? Making me an omelet.
No, they're just there for entertainment. They're like my jesters.
I'm bored sometimes, you know?
They juggle occasionally.
One day, a young
Haitian. You can do this, Colton.
Haitian, that's not a word.
You need to pay attention more.
One day, a young Haitian woman got her arm caught in the
Industrial. Colton.
What? I know what
attention
it
in
says.
English.
I know what it is. I could not speak for a second. Rap Rat's getting me.
We need that, like, dyslexic-friendly font. That's what we need. That's what we need. We need to install that into your computer.
Unable to handle the weight of the machine, came and struck the child's neck, killing her instantly. A few days after the funeral, the mother of the child came to the factory, demanding to see the owner, who denied that he had anything to do with it. In a fit of rage, the mother said that the blood from the innocent would seep into every crevice. Jesus, that's not. Oh my God, am I really?
This is at like this is. You should have learned these words many years ago.
No, there's no way. I'm not this bad at English. What happened? This is what happens when you're stuck inside for a whole year. Hospital did this. Actually, you know what? I'm blaming it on the stroke. It did mess with my brain a bit. Would seep into every crevice of the doll.
This persisted before.
No,
just
every component.
I think.
Shut up. Every component with which every component with which it has created, and that all that touched it would die. She claimed to have summoned a fear demon, which is Chainsaw Man, and screamed at the top of her lungs, "Apparat will curse you!" Apparat? Not how you spell it.
That is.
What is apparat?
Can you read the story so you can get the?
Oh, what was he saying? What was he saying? What was he
God,
saying?
you're like my mother, who anytime we're watching a movie, just what's going on? Like, watch the goddamn movie.
Okay, chill. The owner simply laughed and told his corporate bosses about apparats. They spread the joke from person to person, and the game was renamed to Rap Rat. A loose anagram of a rat apparat. Not at all. That's not at all.
Wow, see, you read half a paragraph more and you understood what was happening.
Not at all.
How crazy is that?
Okay. Each recitation.
There you go.
Each recitation of the name apparat brought it. Why? Why can't I read all of a sudden? Each recitation of the name apparat.
Did you get my pain from not being able to read? Am I actually gonna, like, ace this next story?
Imagine. Each recitation of the name apparat brought with it a greater and greater curse. Only 2 years after Rap Rat was created, the company was shut down, and the owners hired by Mattel. There were stories of the workers begging for days off, skipping work for weeks and weeks, and finding the puppet in strange places. There were also stories of suicides, grim, violent deaths, in which the workers would stab their hands and set themselves on fire, writing "I am fear" on the near surface in blood.
Why'd you rephrase it?
What?
Why'd you rephrase it? It says burn themselves. Why would you rephrase? You rephrase so many weird things. It's so odd.
Did I do that? I thought it set themselves on fire. I'm so lost.
No, you've been like rephrasing so many tiny little things in ways that aren't important, but it just takes so much more. It takes so much more mental effort to do that. It's so weird.
I just do it automatically.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but it's been happening.
I do that automatically, dude. I just do that. I do not know why.
You do. It's weird.
The entire like Luigi's Mansion video, it's just been me rephrasing stuff that wasn't in the script. I just go off my own dome. Anyway. Nobody knows where Rap Rat Doll went after the original creator's disappearance. I see what... Yeah, okay, I just did it again.
Yeah.
Some say that...
It's so weird.
Some say that the last things the victim saw before going insane were large, sunken, fish-like eyes.
Words of warning, NFL.
Number 1. Never, ever say apparat out loud. Saying a demon's name out loud is an invitation to them, a calling. If you have already done this, it cannot be undone. Oh, well, I guess I'm screwed, thank God. Screw you, TGP. Freaking curse me with freaking Rap Rat crap.
My bad, G.
Do not try to speak or contact apparat. We should do this.
Speak to or contact.
We should do this when we do ghost hunting stuff. We should be like...
I don't think apparat's real.
No,
I'm gonna keep it a
try, though, dude. We could try.
You know, you can have all the fun you want. I looked up apparat, and everything is just in Islamic, I think.
Maybe it's an Islamic demon.
It's in Persian.
Okay. Avoid being awake between 3:30 a.m. and 4 a.m. when Rap Rat is the most likely to try and scare you. Well, I'm not going to bed tonight.
You're gonna be waiting till 4 a.m.?
Like, come on, come at me and we'll jerk off in your face, you dumb rat.
That's what you gotta do. You just gotta pump yourself.
Yeah, try coming in. Like,
show dominance.
What's he gonna do?
Just stand in the corner, staring viciously at the door, while you're standing on your feet like a gremlin, just like hunched over, completely naked, like the Rake. Just going at it.
It's like, yeah.
Nobody will try to mess with you.
Not even like any porn playing. It's completely dark and just jerking off, looking at the door, like waiting for that little rat to come out.
If I was a demon and I saw that, I'd be like, okay, this person's already a demon. I guess I don't know what they want from me. So what do I say?
The audio. The VHS.
Sorry.
The VHS is back. I thought I stomped on it, smashed it into Kingdom Come, but it's back. I found it in my sock drawer yesterday. Oh, okay, the cum
sock.
This time I was ready. A whole bunch of people have been contacting me, trying to get the tape or some sort of video from the board game. My answer to you is that it's too dangerous. If I did that, it could very well drive you insane, scare you to death. The video and the game and Rap Rat itself have some sort of strange power. Rap Rat follows me everywhere I go. I see little shadows in the corner of my eye or hear sounds coming down the hallway when I'm only one home. If Rap Rat is there, it'll let you know, but it'll never let you see it until it's too late, of course. A lot of people have been watching the normal video from the normal board game. That's the thing. Rap Rat can be normal. It will trick you to think it's just a puppet and then stalk you day and night. The end.
Damn.
We are 25 minutes in.
Da-da-da-da. Sorry. I keep wanting to do NFL announcements or something. Anyways, solid story.
Oh, yeah. I see why this traumatized the hell out of you.
I think we should buy the Rap Rat
Yeah, I was
board
literally
game.
going to say that. Like, we should buy the Rap Rat board game, get a VHS, and do this for a video.
And we should take a video of us, like, putting it down the toilet and peeing on it, like the one video with Kanye West pissing on his Grammy. Just stick it in the toilet and just pee on it. That'd be crazy. Can we do that?
Oh my god, there's a video.
Listeners at home, if this episode gets 19 likes, we're doing that.
There's a video called Rap Rat Explained, and this is the thumbnail. I think this is more creepier than anything else.
It just says...
What is that?
It just says real or fake and Rap Rat's big buggy eyes. Sorry, audio listeners, you can't experience
Not
this,
even
but
visual.
it's crazy.
I want to see it. Rap Rat's just some dude.
This is so sad. Yeah, Rap Rat's a demon from hell, and it's a rat.
And he looks like he talks like, "Ooh, hello."
He looks like you in a way.
I do not look like Rap Rat.
Big ass ears.
Actually, you know what? A good way to get rid of Rap Rat
Cheese.
is set up cheese.
Cheese. You always have a wheel of cheese with you, just in your lap.
Yeah, actually, my wheelchair.
You have
wheels?
your tactical wheel of cheese.
You know what? Me and Rap Rat are the same. Actually, you can't say my real name, or else I'm gonna come.
I've said your name every single point in this video.
You don't.
For this episode.
You don't know my real name though. That could be a fake name.
Damn, that's crazy.
Like a skinwalker. You just can't say. You can say it's skinwalker, but you can't say my real name. You know.
NotTGP is actually my real name.
Yeah.
Full legal middle and last.
All right. Read my creepypasta.
Anyways, yes, Pokemon Lost Civ were chosen specifically by Mr. Colton Cast.
That's my full name. Don't wear it out.
Uh-oh. All right.
Oh, you found it out? No!
You see, I'm a simple college student living alone in an apartment. I was very enthusiastic about the release of Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver here in the States. I have purposely locked myself out of all media and the internet aside for school purposes. That means no 4chan, no V, no Bulbapedia, etc. I'm looking that one up because I'm making sure it's not a furry site. It's not a furry site.
No 4chan!
Let's go. Whatever will we do?
Dude, watch this be like so crap, and then you just maybe read a genuinely well written creepypasta. I want to kill myself.
I hope it's just utter like poop from a butt. That would be awesome.
Watch it just ruin my childhood.
As I was busy with the school year and being poor at the time, I wasn't able to buy Soul Silver on its launch date. After my school year ended, I ordered Soul Silver on Amazon. However, it would take a week for it to arrive. I decided that during that time, I would replay my Crystal version on my Game Boy Color. However, I realized that long ago, my mom threw it away because I told her the save went dead, and I was very upset about it then. She also threw away my silver version, so all I have is my Game Boy Color. As such, I set out to GameStop and bought a used silver version, as it's the only Pokemon game left that they have the GBC, that they have for the GBC. Game Boy Color, I see. I'm dumb. $10, fairly cheap. $10 also gets you an hour with me.
Keep that in mind.
I went home and started setting it up for a nostalgia trip. However, that's where things started getting bizarre, and most likely the reason why you read this.
Pikachu started flossing. It was crazy. Please don't go quiet.
This all hinges on me wanting to continue reading the story. I hope you know that. And after you said that, I very much want to stop and just log off and turn off my computer.
Sorry,
I hope you know that. Alright, back into it. The Game Freak logo started up as normal, but it just froze there. I thought the cart was just eroded or something, so I turned it off and on. The same thing happened. I tried pressing A and start over and over, and all the buttons. Eventually the logo vanished, and there was a black screen for about 5 seconds. Suddenly, rather than going to the usual menu screen, I was already in the game in a previous saved file, which was odd as I was expecting all the carts to have been wiped by the poor battery. So much spit in my mouth.
Yeah, it's what
Either
this
way,
game,
I
this
wasn't
story does to
complaining.
you, man. Makes you wet.
As I would have chosen the continue option to see what the previous guy did anyways. First off, I checked his trainer information. His name was just ... He didn't have much originality. I checked his profile and apparently he had 999 hours. Dollars per second.
What?
He had 1,000 hours put into the game with all 16 badges. Was that 10,000 Pokédollars and all 251 Pokemon on the Pokédex?
This dude was a no-lifer.
Yeah, he's about as bad as you. Seeing as he apparently had Mew and Celebi, I can't pronounce names, so I'm just gonna do that every time I can't confidently pronounce a name.
Celebi, TGP.
Celebi, okay. Seeing as he apparently had Mew and Celebi logged also, I'm guessing he either used the Game Genie or was a really hardcore Pokemon player back then. I checked his Pokemon to see what badass team he has. To my surprise, I saw 5 unknowns. Unknowns? I can't pronounce words.
Yeah.
And a 6th Pokemon named Hurry. I'm thinking that this must be some cruel joke by the person who last played the game, but I decided to check the profiles of those Pokemon anyway. As expected, they were different letters of unknown, all level 5. I was a bit shaky with my unknown alphabet at the time, but I identified the word spelled out to be leave. As for the 6th Pokemon, it turned out to be a Synchronocrill.
Turned out to be, what is it?
You're gonna have to help me pronounce.
Oh,
I'm sorry for all the viewers at home. I actually had a life.
Turned out to be...
We're doing right pronounce.
Cyndaquil.
What did you just say to me? Okay, that sounds like a boner medication.
Take some
Mind you,
Cyndaquil, you can get a boner.
This was before they were individualized Pokemon icons. The Synchronocrill, the Viagra looked normal, but it was level 5 with only 1 HP left and only 2 attacks, Leer and Flash. I don't know why, but they named him Hurry, but at the time, I just disregarded it. The most eerie thing was that, despite my volume being at max, none of the Pokemon had said their usual cries, just pure silence. Having enough of the team, I closed it. I was parked at what appeared to be the room inside Bellsprout Tower. However, for some reason, there were no NPCs around. Even more eerie was that the pillar in the middle didn't move at all, as if it was just leaning on its side. There was no music at all, and there was no exit or ladder. At least I thought there wasn't. I walked around for a few minutes, but can't seem to find a way out. That's not proper grammar. This was certainly not a room I've seen in the Bellsprout Tower before. I tried checking my items for an escape rope, but the bag was completely empty. There wasn't any wild Pokemon either. Finally, I managed to find a ladder, which turned out to be behind the pillar. The screen turned black and the music finally started playing. I had a sudden chill as I recognized that melody. I heard to be the theme you hear when you listen to the radio at Alph Ruins, where all the unknowns are. Shut up, train. Nobody cares. While the train passes by, a quick word from our sponsor, Manscaped. Let me talk about how beautiful my balls are.
Okay, buddy.
You see, my balls are shaved purely clean.
I shaved them clean off. Like, I mean, they're just not there no more.
It's just gone. I did a vasectomy, but I didn't fully realize what that meant, so I just chopped the entire ball off. I just neutered myself.
The ball. You have one
Anyways,
ball.
back to the story.
You have one ball. That's the scariest part of this video so far. You have one ball.
I immediately realized that if it wasn't a loading transition, but rather I was in a dark room and would need flash. Before I took care of that, though, I immediately checked my Pokegear to change the radio to something more pleasant. But it turns out that there was no radio card, or even a phone nor time cards. There was only a map card in which Gold, from earlier, and I will now call him Gold from now on, was just walking in the midst of black. I recall that Synchronocrill has flash. I'm sorry, I can't
Say,
pronounce
say
these
it with
big
me.
words.
Cinda.
Cyndaquil.
There you go. You did it.
I recall that Cyndaquil has flash, so I turned off my Pokegear and made Cyndaquil use flash. I didn't see any message saying hurry has used flash or anything like that. The room just became lit. The room became lit just like that. Hell yeah. And I soon
Yeah.
regretted it. The room was a chilling blood red with a linear gray path heading south. The ladder that I used to go up down was not there at all. I had no choice but to head south. The screen got darker every 20 steps I made, until I finally made it to the end, which appears to be a sign. I read the sign which said, "Turn back now."
Ooh, spooky.
I was in another dark room, but I held my breath and used flash again. Suddenly it said that
You
Hurry has fainted.
missed.
Oh
You
yeah,
missed
I
the whole
did skip an
paragraph.
entire paragraph. My bad, viewers at home, I'm a little bit stupid. Suddenly, I was asked to answer yes or no, but there was no question asked. I chose yes, as I do not know what it was asking, and the screen went black again, making a ladder climbed sound. The unknown radio music stopped, and in a few seconds was replaced by the not so creepy polka flute radio music. I was in another dark room, but I held my breath and used flash again. Suddenly it said that Hurry has fainted, which was odd since I recalled that there was no status conditions like poison on him, and I clearly wasn't in a battle. I checked my Pokemon quickly, and suddenly, he's no longer in my party. In fact, after a bit of investigating, none of my Pokemon are there, but instead all were placed with level 10 unknowns. I did the same thing as before and spelled out the unknown. Then my then team of unknowns spelled he died.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
Crazy? I was crazy once.
No.
They locked me in a dark room.
With a bunch of Cyndaquils.
A bunch of
Yeah.
Either way, after that creepy change, the room was lit to reveal myself in a very small room that appears to be only 4 squares big. The walls of the room were gray bricks, as if I was inside something that was hollowed out. Outside that room appears to be a bunch of graves similar to the one in Pokemon Red and Blue. I've walked outside that small room and pressed A, but nothing happened. I've already concluded this was clearly a hacked game, and some sadistic person sold it to GameStop.
Say it. Now come on, say it.
I cannot swear. This is a Christian.
It says the F word. It says F-U-C-K, which is also my nickname in high school.
And some sadistic heckin' man sold it to GameStop. I don't know why I said that. I'm sorry. However, my curiosity kept going. I checked under the trainer profile of ... Again, only to find out that some sprite of gold was missing his arm. Hold up. Wait a minute. Why am I dog on the ceiling fan, bruh?
Okay.
Again, only to find out that the sprite of gold was missing his arms. He also seems to appear less smug, but rather seems more sad and empty in a way that I do not know how to describe. For some reason, it also now said that he has 24 badges, which was clearly impossible. After a few minutes of aimless wondering, my character suddenly spun and did the escape rope spinning animation. Instead of flying up, though, my character spun downwards slowly, as if sinking. After that screen, the music stopped. After finally landing, the overworld sprite of gold is colored differently now. Instead of the usual red color he dons, he appears completely white now, including his skin, as if he came straight from the colorless Game Boy games placed into a colorless background of the Game Boy Color. I checked his profile now, while now it is as white as his overworld sprite. He lost his legs, and has what appears to be bloody tears from his eyes. It also says that he now has 32 badges, which now starts to disturb me as this change of number seems to represent something important. I will say, there's a weird past present tense kerfuffle going on here.
What do you mean?
Grammar bad. Like it says it is happening, but then saying this is what happened. sometimes it's saying like this is happening. It's saying it like it's happening currently, but then it's saying it happened like before. It's weird. It's making my brain hurt. I can't
I
read.
get that.
Where am I? Check this profile. Okay. I also checked my Pokemon again, which this time contains 5 unknowns and a level 100 Celebi without a nickname. The unknown are this time leveled 15 and spelled out dying. I checked my Celebi profile. It was a shiny Celebi, except there was only half of the sprite. 1 leg, 1 arm, 1 eye, and only has 1 attack. Perish Song. The area I was in itself was a sprout tower with the immobile pillar as before, except everything is apparently red now. I walked north of what felt like forever. Eventually, I finally encountered some generic men and women NPC. They were all lined up to the side, just facing the long slantish pillar in the middle. They were also white. Don't know what race has to do with this, but alright. And nothing happened when I tried to speak to them. I kept on going north until eventually the pillar finally chopped off, with a transparent red in that spot. I went up to red, and without even pressing A, I was suddenly engaged and finally in a battle. The music starts again, which sounds like the unknown radio music again, but played backwards. Gold's battleback sprite matches his front one with the bloody eyes, white skin, and lack of arms, while red sprite was the same as before in GC, except transparent. The text simply said, "Wants to battle," as if he has no name, and both of us only have 1 Pokemon each, which is weird as I swore I had 6 with the unknowns. My shiny Celebi came out, conveniently with half a sprite for the back sprite also. The shiny noise and animation was different, as the sounds it made sound like multiple screech attacks used consecutively. Red sent out a seemingly normal male Pikachu, except he is level 255 and his sprite seems sad and has tears in his eyes. Rather than the usual fight, item, Pokemon, run menu, I was only given the option to use the attacks. Since Celebi has only 1, I chose it, naturally. Since Pikachu was level 255, he went first.
Okay.
Pikachu used Cursed.
I just want to say real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I was having a joke in mind where like only gave the attack option, like so much for a pacifist. I lost a joke, but I was gonna make a joke saying like, oh, you can't do a pacifist route anymore or something goofy like that. Anyway.
Wow, thank you for stopping my reading of the story to say that.
I had a joke in mind, but I lost it as soon as I started speaking. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose you, buddy. Pikachu used Cursed, lowering his speed, increasing his other stats. I'm not even sure if Pokemon could use curses. Celebi used Perish Song. In 3 turns, both Pokemon get KO'd. Not like I have a choice. I thought I was gonna. At this point, it didn't even go back to the fight menu, as the battle just continued without me. Also note that there were no animations at all for some reason. Pikachu used Flaily? What is that word?
I don't know. You're
Flail?
asking the wrong
Oh, that's
person.
how you... Okay. It says flail, but it has an exclamation point. It was messing me up. I'm sorry. Pikachu used flail, which didn't do much damage despite his level and boost as his health was maxed. Celebi used Perish Song. Nothing happens as it was already used. Pikachu used Frustration, which did a heckin' ton of damage, knocking Celebi down to less than 10 HP. Well, my fire alarm settled down.
Genuinely, is that actually your fire alarm?
Yeah, that's my fire alarm. You hear it?
That sounds like a bird, dude.
Chat at home. I have my fire alarm's going off. It's crazy what's happening.
Sounds like a bird, dude. Oh, there's a stink bug outside my window.
It is a bird. I have 20 birds in my room.
So it's
They're all just flying around indiscriminately.
I continue reading your dumb story.
Oh yeah, it's mine. Knocking Celebi used Pain Split, which surprised me as Celebi didn't even have that attack in the first place. Now Celebi and Pikachu have about 150 HP. Pikachu used Mean Look, not like that did anything. As expected, due to the effects of Perish Song, my Celebi fainted, except in the text it said, Celebi has died. And instead of the ordinary drop off the screen animation, the Celebi back sprite just vanished. For some reason, the Pikachu was still up, even with the Perish Song, and it didn't count as my loss. Pikachu used one more different attack beyond the 5 attack limit. Pikachu used Destiny Bond. Afterwards, it said Pikachu has died with a slow fade-out animation. Apparently, I was the winner, as a transparent red sprite showed up and said, ... Many dots. A lot of dots. He didn't say nothing. Many dots. At that point, I just freaked out, as that transparent red sprite was suddenly beheaded, leaving nothing but his transparent body. The battle then ended at that point, and faded out along with the music. I was back in the overworld, with another change to the gold sprite.
Now.
Damn, that's real. He's now as transparent as Red's overworld sprite. I quickly checked Gold's profile, where this time the only thing remains of him is his head, his head with a transparent skin. The head was zoomed in a bit, showing a black void in his eyes. It now stated that he now has 40 badges. I then backed down and checked my Pokemon. They were all level 20 shiny unknown, which when spelled out read no more. Woo! I was at what I was now known as the... Woohoo! I was at what I now know is next to the end. There was apparently no music playing, but for some reason I still felt like something was there that could be heard. I was in the back of my room in New Barktown. Maybe finally I get to play this game properly, but who am I kidding? I knew that sadistic heckin' dude must have done something. I walked around my room to interact with things, as I'm a bit afraid to go down the stairs to see what's awaiting me down there. Note I said walked while the background was moving. Gold was not moving his transparent limbs at all while doing so, just floating like those ghosts you see in Diamond and Pearl. As expected, the radio, computer, and TV did not work, so I had no choice but to go down the stairs. I ended up at the same lower level room of my house. Everything appears normal, except Mom isn't home. After failing to interact with anything in the room, I decided to go outside. To my surprise, that door leading outside at the south didn't work, and instead I just walked straight through it to a void. I continued moving south to see what the heckin' frick was going on. My house vanishes as I head south into the void. It was creepy, as when I entered the void, the outline on Gold's transparent sprite turned white to contrast with the pitch black. Eventually, I reached a white area and Gold's sprite turned black and transparent again. I continued south without thinking of stopping at all. After a long trek south, I finally encountered something. It was Gold's regular sprite. I talked to it. He said, "Goodbye forever, ... notably with a space in between the forever and the dots, and vanished. As that happened, it said, question mark, use nightmare, which at that point, I would not deny that being possible. Gold did another escape rope animation, spinning slowly downwards like before.
It's a callback.
I'm now back. No, what's the opposite of foreshadowing? Backshadowing.
Like, you used Nightmare. Nightmare was the game in the Rat Brat story. The callback.
Dude, that's crazy. I'm now back into that small, hollowed out room surrounded by graves earlier. Or at least I say I was back there, as there was no sprite anymore. I tried to walk around, but nothing moved, not even wall bumping noises. I checked my trainer profile with absolutely no gold sprite left. It said I have 0 badges. And all the pictures of the Johto gym leaders at the bottom were replaced with skulls. I checked my Pokemon, which were all level 25 unknowns. As expected, it spelled out a phrase that I dared to read. I'm dead.
So spooky.
As soon as I went back to the overworld, the ghost dead. Whoa. As soon as I went back to the overworld, the room I supposedly was in, then covered with the same blocks as the walls. I figured out what exactly that room was when the final text said R.I.P. That room was a big grave, surrounded by other graves. Gold has already been dead. He died presumably a few years after he defeated Red. He was a young trainer who, despite his efforts in collecting so many badges and attempting at becoming a Pokemon Master, was still unable to avoid the inevitable fate of death, and his efforts were eventually forgotten by the next generation. I was unable to escape from that text no matter what I pressed. I tried resetting the game, and the same thing happened, at which I then finally decided to give up on that horrible nightmare. After that experience, I will never look at the gimmick unknown the same way again. They say that only the first generations The first generation have folk tales and legends, but the second generation has shown me how unpleasant the truth can be. I eventually played Soul Silver immensely, but I still can't unthink what that rigged game has told me. Ooh,
Okay, so that ruined my childhood. That was trash. That was so bad.
That it wasn't trash.
It's not good.
It was.
It tries too hard to be edgy, dude.
It was like recycling.
It's spelled out, I'm dead. Woo! Like, what?
I got a good creepypasta. You got ass creepypasta. Get farted on,
Also,
loser.
I looked up on Reddit. Apparently, there's another one called Pokemon Black, which is, like, apparently way better in every way possible, according to other people.
You already picked your story, liberal.
Yeah, we'll do this next
save
year.
it for next Halloween.
Yeah, we'll save it for next year.
Anyways, we're going to next, finally, Abandoned by Disney.
Which we are 40 minutes in.
Are you ready, homo?
We're 50 minutes in. Yeah, I'm ready.
We are 51 minutes in.
I start. So
all right.
How are we doing this? Is it going to be I read 2 paragraphs, you read 2 paragraphs, and...
Okay, well, a paragraph here is very flaky because some paragraphs are just like 1 sentence, and then others are like 15.
So yeah, we'll just read till you just like switch. All right, just read till like all right, switch.
Okay.
You know? All right.
Sure.
Some of you may have heard that the Disney Corporation is responsible for at least one real live ghost town. Disney built the Treasure Island Resort in Baker's Bay in the Bahamas. It didn't start as a ghost town. Disney cruise ships would actually stop at the resort and leave tourists there to relax in luxury. This is a fact. Look it up. You have to. Disney blew...
Do it right now.
How? Is that 30 million? It's 30 million.
That is 30 million.
Okay. Disney blew 30 million on the place, yet, yes, $30 million. Then they abandoned it.
That can buy at least 15 Big Macs.
Yeah, at least 15, maybe 15 and a half, if you're lucky.
Maybe. You never know.
Disney blamed the shallow waters too shallow for their ships to safely operate, and there was even blame cast on the workers, saying that since they were in the Bahamas, they were too lazy to work a regular schedule. I'll let you.
Hell yeah. That's where the factual nature of their story ends. It wasn't because of sand, and it obviously wasn't because foreigners are lazy. Both are convenient excuses. No, I sincerely doubt those reasons were legitimate. Why don't I buy the official story? Because of Mowgli's palace. I can do it. It's a strange word, okay?
It is. Mowgli.
Near the beachside city of Emerald...
Oh my god, it's Mowgli.
Mowgli! Near the beachside city of Emerald Isle, North Carolina, Disney began construction of Mowgli Palace in the late 1990s. The concept was a jungle-themed resort with a large, you guessed it, palace in the center of the whole thing. If you're unfamiliar with the character of then you might remember the story, The Jungle Book. If you haven't seen it anywhere else, you know it as a Disney cartoon from decades past. Mowgli is an abandoned child in the jungle, essentially raised by animals and simultaneously threatened/pursued by other animals, and I will let you take it up.
So imagine being seduced by a monkey. Anyway, Mowgli's palace was a controversial undertaking from the start. Disney bought up
No comment.
Shut up. Disney bought up a ton of high-priced land for the project, and there was actually a scandal surrounding some of the purchases. The local government claimed eminent domain on people's homes and turned around and sold the properties back to Disney. At one point, a home that had just been constructed was immediately condemned with little to no explanation.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. Gotta love the U.S. of America. God bless.
God bless!
The land grabbed by the government was supposedly for some fictional highway project. Knowing full well what was going on, people started calling it Mickey Mouse Highway. That's a crazy name. That
was also my nickname in high school for my butthole.
What?
Sorry.
Then there was the concept art. A group of stuffed shirts from Disney Co. actually held a group of stuffed shirts from Disney Co.
Shirts.
So a bunch of churches had a meeting.
It's rich people. It means a bunch of rich people.
Oh, okay.
Because, like, people... Never mind.
A group of stuffed shirts from Disney Co. actually held a city meeting. They intended to sell everyone on how lucrative this project was going to be for everyone. When they showed the concept art, this gigantic Indian palace, surrounded by jungle, as opposed to darkness, staffed with men and women in loincloths and tribal gear. Well, suffice to say, everyone flipped their crap. I'll let you take it from here.
We're talking about a large Indian palace, jungle, and loincloth, not only in the center of a relatively wealthy area, but also considered somewhat xenophobic area of the southern USA. It was a questionable mix at that point in history.
So just modern
One
day
member of
America.
the crowd... Hell yeah. One member of the crowd tried to storm the stage, but he was quickly subdued by security after he managed to break one of the presentation boards over his
I thought
knee.
was seduced by security. I was very concerned.
He was
Hey,
seduced
big
by
boy.
Disney. That's the sequel to the story not many people know
Seduced by
about.
Disney.
Disney took that community and essentially broke it over its knee as well. The houses were razed, the land was cleared, and there wasn't a damn thing anybody could do or say about it. Local TV and newspapers were against the resort at the beginning, but some insane connections between Disney's media holdings and the local venues came into play, and their opinions turned on a dime. So anyways, Treasure Island, the Bahamas, Disney sunk those millions in and then split. The same thing happened with Marley Palace, and I'll let you flip that bad boy over.
Construction was complete. Visitors actually stayed at the resort. The surrounding communities were flooded with traffic and the usual annoyances associated with the influx of lost and irate tourists.
Irate.
Then it all just stopped.
Okay.
Disney shut it down and nobody knew what the hell to think. But they were pretty happy about it. Disney's loss was pretty hilarious and wonderful to a large group of folks who didn't want this in the first place. Sorry, I choked on my own spit.
Gross.
I honestly didn't give the place another thought since hearing it closed over a decade ago. I lived maybe 4 hours from Emerald Isle, so really I only heard the rumblings and didn't experience any of it firsthand. Then I read the article from someone who had explored the Treasure Island Resort.
Island?
And it posted a whole blog about all the crazy crap he found there. Stuff just left behind. Things smashed, defaced, probably ruined by the disgruntled former employees who had lost their jobs. And hell, the locals from all around probably had a hand in wrecking the place. People there just felt angry about Treasure Island as folks here did about Mowgli's Palace. Plus, there were rumors that Disney had released their aquarium stock into local waters when they closed, including sharks. We wouldn't want to take a few swings at some merchandise after that. And I'll let you go from here.
Well, what I'm getting at is that this blog is about this blog that... Oof. No! I don't care about search results! Okay. Well, what I'm getting at is that this blog about Treasure Island got me thinking. Hang on, it just shot me up directly up to the page. Give me 14 seconds. This blog about Treasure Island got me thinking. Even though many years had passed since its closing, I figured it might be cool to do some urban exploration at Mowgli's Palace, take some photos, write about my experience, and probably see if there is anything I could take home as a memento. I'm not going to say I wasted no time in getting there, because honestly it took me another year after I first found that Treasure Island article to get me around to going up to Emerald Isle. Over the course of that year, I did a lot of research on the Palace Resort, or rather I tried to. Naturally, no official Disney site or resource made any mention of the place that had been scrubbed clean. Even odder, however, was that nobody before myself had apparently thought to blog about the place or even post a photo of it. None of the local TV or newspaper sites had one word about the place, though that was to be expected since they all had swung Disney's way. They wouldn't be out there laundering their embarrassment, you'd know. Recently, I learned that corporations can actually ask Google, for example, to remove links from search results, basically for no good reason. Looking back, it's probably not that anybody spoke of the resort, but rather their words were made inaccessible. Go.
So in the end, I could barely...
I don't know why.
Yeah, why'd you clap?
I don't know. I just did like a cool little thing.
So in the end, I could barely find the place. All I had to go on was an old as hell map I'd received from the mail back in the 90s. It was a promotional item sent out to people who had recently been to Disney World. I guess since I had been there in the late 80s, that was quote unquote recent. I didn't really intend to hang on to it. It just got shoved in with my books and comics from my childhood. I'd only remembered it months into my research, and even then, it took me a few other weeks to locate the storage bin my parents had shoved it all into. But I did find it. Locals were no help, as most were transparent who had moved into the beach in the recent years.
Transplants? Yeah, most of them were transparent.
Listen,
See-through skin, like a frog. You know how it be.
Listen, we've had a lot of transparent people in the last freaking creepypasta. I don't know.
We had a lot of trans people in the last creepypasta? I don't really know about
Yeah,
that.
the Pokemon were trans.
I mean, maybe. You never know.
Locals were no help, as most were transplants
Lopez
who
is
had moved
trans.
to the beach in recent years, or old residents who just sneered at me and made rude gestures at the second I managed to say, "Where would I find Mowgli's?" The drive took me in an extraordinarily long corridor of overgrowth. Tropical plants had run rampant and overpopulated the area, mixed with the native species of flora that... I said that right? Flora?
You can do it. Flora,
Okay.
yes.
That actually belonged there and had tried to reclaim the land. I was in awe when I reached the front gate of the resort. Tremendous monolithic wooden gates whose supports to either side looked like they must have been cut from giant
Sequoias. That's a big word. That is a big word. I will give you that
The
one.
gate itself
That is a
had
big
been
tree.
gouged in several places.
Gouged. Okay.
The gate itself had been gouged.
I'm not saving you there.
By woodpeckers and eaten away at the base by surrounding insects. And I'll let you take it from there.
Hanging on the gate was a sheet of metal, some random scrap with hand-painted letters scrawled in black, abandoned by Disney. Clearly the handiwork of some past local or an employee who wanted to make some small protest. The gates were open enough to walk through, but not drive. So grabbing my digital camera and the map, whose flip side showed the layout of the resort, I set off on foot. The inner grounds of the place were just as overgrown as the entryway. Palm trees stood untended and ragged among piles of their own coconuts. Banana plants similarly stood in their own stinking, bug-ridden refuse. There is a sort of clash between order and chaos, as carefully planted rows of perennial flowers mixed with obnoxious tall weeds and striking black mushrooms. Shut up. The most interesting... That's not the right paragraph. All that remained of any outdoor structures were broken, rotting wood and various charred bits of unidentifiable material, which was most likely an information booth or an outdoor bar that was now simply a pile of assorted debris chopped up by past vandalism and ravaged by weather. The most interesting thing on the grounds was a statue of Baloo, the friendly bear from the Jungle Book, which stood in a sort of courtyard in front of the main building. He was frozen in a jovial wave towards no one, staring into empty space with a silly, toothy grin, as bird doo-doo covered whole swaths of his fur in vines and ensnared platform.
So,
I approached the main building.
It's just Freddy Fazbear. He's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's a bear, so therefore he's Freddy
Yeah!
Fazbear. Can you actually do something with your life? I approached the main building, the palace, only to find the outside of the building covered in graffiti where the original paint hadn't peeled and chipped away. The front doors weren't just open, they had been taken off their hinges and were stolen. And I'll let you slide up there, liberal.
Alright.
Me when merging in traffic.
Above the front doors, or the gaping maw where they had been, someone had once again painted "Abandoned by Disney." Crazy. That's hard. I wish I could tell you about all the awesome stuff I saw inside the palace. Forgotten statues, abandoned
Abandoned crack.
abandoned crack.
If I went to a Disney resort and I found abandoned crack, I would be I would be the happiest person ever.
Abandoned crack registers, a full-fledged a secret society of homeless bums, but no. Full-fledged secret society of homeless bums.
That's real.
That's what they called my house. That's what they called my basement. Not many people know this. The inside of the building was so stark, so bare, that I actually think people had stolen the molding off the walls. Anything that was too big to steal, counters, desks, giant fake trees, they were all resting amid the empty echo chamber that amplified my every step like a slow rat-a-tat of a machine gun. Again, a rat coming back. I checked the floor plan and headed up to all the locations that might seem in any way interesting. The kitchen was, as you could imagine, an industrial food prep area with all appliances in space, no expenses spared. Every glass surface was broken, every door knocked off its hinges, Every metal surface kicked in and dented. The entire place smelled like very old pee, which was mine. I put a diaper in there. The huge freezer,
That's
not
what I
even
like to
remotely
smell.
cool now, had row upon a row of empty shelf space. Hooks hung from the ceiling, probably for hanging cuts of meat. And as I stood inside for a moment, I noticed they were swinging. Each hook swung in a random direction,
Ooh.
but their movements were slow and Movements were so slow and small that it was almost impossible to see. I figured it had been caused by my footsteps, so I stopped one from swinging by clutching it in my fist, then carefully letting it go. Within seconds, it started to swing once more. The bathrooms were in much the same state as the rest of the place, just like Treasure Island Resort. Someone had methodic
Methodic?
methodic
Is that the word you're trying to read?
methodically
Methodically, yes.
smashed each
Commode.
commode with coconuts and other implements. There were implements. There were other there. What? There was about there was about a half inch of rancid, stinking, stagnant water on the floor. So I didn't stay there very long, and you can read because I'm losing my marbles.
Yeah, you've read like half the story now. That's cool. What's odd is that the toilets and the sinks and the bidet.
You can do it. We're both losing it.
What's odd is that the toilets and the sinks and the bidets in the ladies' room, yes, I went there, all dripped, leak, or just ran freely. It seemed to me that they should have shut the water off long, long ago. I didn't know if that was how you spelled bidets, and I was scared that I was gonna seem stupid.
Yeah, that's how I'm the entire time. I feel like I'm about to be stupid, but I make myself more stupid.
You are usually
Yes.
stupid. There were plenty of rooms in the resort, but naturally I didn't have time to look through them all. The few I did peer into were similarly wrecked, and I didn't expect to find anything there. I thought there was actually a television or a radio in one room, as I really think I heard a quiet conversation coming out. Though it was like a whisper, probably my own breathing echoing in the silence, or just another case of the sound of flowing water playing tricks on my mind. This is what it sounded like. I don't believe it. Short, unknown reply. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Your father told you. Unknown reply, or possibly just weeping.
You know, we'll probably been cool there.
That's crazy. What?
You probably should have been one. I probably should have been two.
We should have. Okay, let's redo that. Audience, shut up. We're redoing this. Clap, clap. All right, I'll be one. I don't believe it.
Short, unknown reply.
Okay, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Your father told you.
I know. That sounds ridiculous. I'm just. I'm just telling you what I experienced. Why I thought there might have been something running in that room, or worse, some vagrants who have just holed up there and probably would have knifed me.
Crazy.
At the front doors of the palace again, I figured I haven't found anything of note and had wasted the trip up. And I think there I'll let you read.
As I looked out the door, I noticed something interesting in the courtyard that I had apparently missed. Something that would give me at least one thing to show off for all my trouble, even if it was just a photograph. There was a lifelike statue of a python, maybe 80 feet long, that's a lot of feet, coiled up and sunning itself on a pedestal.
80 of them? Oh, I need to change my shorts.
On a pedestal right in the center of the area. It was almost time for the sun to start setting, so the light fell into the object in the perfect way for a photograph. I approached the python and snapped a photo. Then I stood on my toes and snapped another one. I moved closer again to get the details of its face. Slowly, casually, the python lifted its head, looked directly into my eyes, turned, and slithered off the pedestal across the grass and into the trees. All 80 feet of it. Its head long disappeared into the woods.
Oh, a real python! I thought it was talking about like a statue of a python.
I did too. Maybe it was a statue. That's what we were taking pictures of it.
Wait, there was like a lifelike statue of a python. It was a fake python.
So it just came to life?
Maybe.
That's crazy. Alright, I'll read this one, then you can go on to the next one. Disney had released all their exotic animals into the grounds. Right there was on my floor plan of the map was the reptile house. I should have known. I'd read about the sharks at the treasure isle, and I should have known they'd done this.
I was dumbfounded, just utterly stupefied. My mouth must have been hanging open for the longest time before I came back down to earth and snapped it shut. I blinked a few times and backed away from where the snake had been, back towards the palace. Even though it was totally gone, I still wasn't taking any chances and backed my way into the building. It took a few deep breaths and slaps my own face to get myself right in the head after that. I looked for a place to sit down and my legs were feeling a bit like jelly at this point. Of course, there was no place to sit down unless I wanted to recline in the broken glass and dead leaf carpet or haul myself up to a desk of questionable reliability. I had seen some stairs near the palace's lobby and decided to go have a seat up there until I felt better.
Why would you want to sit at an abandoned building? I'd be too scared to do all that.
What, are you supposed to stand there the entire time?
I mean, do you really want to sit in an abandoned building? This guy's all by himself, supposedly.
I'd kneel.
Pray to God.
The staircase was far enough away from the front of the building to be relatively clean, save for a startling accumulation of dust. I pulled a wedge of metal off the wall and once again, painted by the abandoned by Disney motto I'd become accustomed to. I placed the wedge on the stairs and sat on it to keep at least somewhat clean. The stairway led down below ground level, using my camera's flash as a sort of improvised flashlight. I can only see the staircase ended in a metal mesh door with a padlock. A sign on the door, a real sign, read "Mascots Only. Thank you." All right, chop, read.
This perked up my spirits a little bit for two reasons. One, a mascots only area would have definitely had some interesting stuff back in the day. Two, the padlock is still in place. Nobody had gone down there. Not the vandals, not the looters, nobody. There must be a reason for that. This was the one place I could actually explore. Perhaps This is the one place I'd actually quote-unquote explore and perhaps find something interesting to photograph. Or wantonly?
One only
steal.
One only.
I had come to the palace
essentially.
I had come to the palace essentially agreeing with myself that it was okay to take anything I wanted because, hey, abandoned by Disney. It didn't take much to bust the log. Well, actually, that's wrong. It didn't take much to bust the metal plate on the wall that the padlock was hooked to. Time and decay had done most of the work for me, and I was able to bend the metal plate enough to pull the screws out of the wall. So, I forgot the joke. Something nobody else had apparently thought of, or hadn't been able to do at the time. The mascot only area
Were you gonna make a busting joke?
No, I was gonna make a joke from the Luigi's Mansion video recorded last night. Like most ghost steals, like he stole the door's death, whatever, I don't know. The mascot only area was startling and very The mascot only area was startling and very unwelcome change from the rest of the building I'd seen. For one, every second or third fluorescent light overhead was illuminated, even though they flickered and faded randomly. Also, nothing had been stolen or broken, even if age and exposure were definitely taking their toll. I thought that was good. Wrong one sentence. Also, nothing had been stolen or broken, even if age and exposure were definitely taking their toll. Tables had no...
Also, that word is defiantly. You read it wrong. I'm killing you.
Defiant. It looks like definitely.
It does look like definitely. I will give you that. That's why I'm not calling you stupid.
Tables had notepads and pens. There were even clocks. Even
Clocks. Dude, that's crazy. That's crazy that your brain auto-corrected to that.
Tables had notepads and pens. There were clocks and even punch-in clock on the wall, complete with the filled-out time cards. Chairs were scattered around, and there was even a small break room with an old static-filled television and long rotted-out food and drinks on the counters. These people were messy. It was like one of those post-apocalypse movies where everything is left in the state of evacuation. Oh my god, post-apocalyptic?
Fortnite.
As I walked... Okay. As I walked the maze-like sub-basement hallways of the mascots only area, the sights just become more and more interesting. As I went further, desks and tables were knocked over, paper scattered and almost melted with damp floor, and a large carpet of mold was slowly overtaking the real rotting crimson floor covering. And I'll let you go from there.
Everything was just sort of squishy. Anything would disintegrate into mush when I applied even the least amount of force, and clothing items hanging on hooks in one of the rooms simply fell to moist threads as if I tried to unhook them. One thing that annoyed me though was the light was becoming more sparse and unreliable as I went further into the dank, suffocating depths of the place. It's not
Dank.
funny. That's a descriptive word.
You're the one laughing,
Shut
man.
up.
I wasn't laughing at first till you started laughing.
I heard you go because you were trying not to laugh. I heard that. Everything was dank. 420 smoke weed every day.
Smoke weed every
Eventually,
day.
I reached a black and yellow striped door with the words Character Prep 1 stenciled on it. The door wouldn't open at first. I figured this was probably where the costumes were kept, and I definitely wanted a photograph photograph of that twisted, stinking mess. Try as I might, whatever angle or trick I tried, the door wouldn't budge.
How would
That
you
is, until I
photograph the
gave
stink?
You could probably see the stink.
Oh yeah, like a cartoon where like the green stuff comes out. Yeah.
Yeah, that is until I gave up and started to walk away. That was when there was a slight popping sound and the door creaked open slowly.
Yeah, no, I would not be going
Inside
near
the
that.
room was completely black. Yeah, that's how to get murdered. Right. Inside, the room was completely dark, pitch black. I used the camera flash to look for a light switch on the wall by the door, but there was nothing. As I made my search, I was jarred out of my senses of excitement by a loud electrical buzzing. Rows of lights overhead suddenly flashed to life, flickering and fading out. Flickering and fading in and out like the rest I had passed. It took a second for my eyes to adjust, and it seemed like the light wasn't going to keep getting brighter until all the bulbs exploded. But when I thought it would reach that critical stage, the lights dimmed a bit and steadied. The room was exactly as I had pictured it. Various Disney costumes hung on the walls, fully put together like strange cartoon cadavers hung from invisible nooses. There was an entire rack of loincloth and quote-unquote native clothes on hangers towards the back, and I'll let you figure out the rest.
What I found odd and what I wanted to photograph right away was a Mickey Mouse costume at the center of the room. Here we're getting to the good part. Unlike the other costumes, it was lying on its back in the center of the floor like a murder victim. The fur on the costume was rotten and shedding, creating bare patches. What was even odder, however, was the coloring of the costume. It was like a photo negative of the actual Mickey Mouse. Want to see my... No, we'll get to that.
Want to see my cock come off?
Black where he should be white. Okay. Black where he should be white and white where he should be black. Racism. His normal red overalls were light blue. The siding was off-putting enough that I actually put off photographing the thing until last. I took a picture of the costumes hanging on the wall. Upward angles, downward angles, side shots to show the entire row of frozen, putrid cartoon faces, some with plastic eyes missing. Then I decided to stage a shot, just one of the bedraggled characters' heads on the slick, grimy floor. I reached out for the headpiece of Donald Duck costume and carefully removed it where the thing wouldn't fall apart in my hands. It's like that Donald Duck head in the Treasure Island game.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what this is. Dumbass.
As I looked into the face of the wide-eyed, moldering head, a loud cluttering sound made me jump with fright, and I'll let you go from here.
I looked down at my feet, and there was between my shoes was a human skull. It had fallen out of the mascot head and shattered into pieces at me feet.
At me feet.
Why is it talking like a pirate? That's in the real story.
That's actually there.
It shattered into pieces at me feet. Yar me matey. It had fallen out of the mascot head and shattered into pieces at me feet. Only the empty face and lower jaw remained, staring up at me. It shattered at me feet.
Yar me matey.
I can't breathe. Okay, shut up. I dropped the duck head immediately, as you expect, and moved for the door. Suddenly, my pirate hook caught in the doorway. I looked back at the skull on the floor. I can't get over that. I'm never going to stop laughing at that. As I stood in the doorway, I looked back to the skull on the floor. I had to take a picture of it, you know. I had to, for any number of reasons that may seem silly, but only if you don't think it through. I needed proof of what happened, especially if Disney was going to somehow make this go away. I had no doubt in my mind, right from the start, that even if it was just gross negligence, Disney was responsible for
Okay,
this.
so pause real quick.
That's
I want
when
to talk
Mickey-
about this. So, he went into this room that opened mysteriously that he could not open no matter how hard he tried. He then picked up a mascot
And
hat
there was a
that had a skull
and there
fall
was just
out
a
of it.
skull in it?
Like,
That's crazy.
why would you want to stay here? Leave. You are stupid.
Oh, I want to photograph some things for my picture book.
Disney
Shut
will
the hell
try to
up. Get out.
away from me. Like, I wouldn't care at that point. Disney could do whatever they want to
Maybe you want to take some pictures for his pirate guru back at the ship.
Alright, keep reading.
Okay. That's when Mickey, that photo negative opposite Mickey in the middle of the floor, started to get up. First sitting up, then climbing to its feet. The Mickey Mouse costume, or whoever was inside of it, stood there at the center of the room, its fake face just smiling directly at me as I mumbled no over and over and over. With shaking hands, a violently thrashing heart, and legs that had once again turned to jelly, I managed to lift the camera and aim it opposite the creature, now quietly sizing me up. The digital camera screen displayed only dead pixels in the shape of the thing. It was a perfect silhouette of the Mickey costume. As the camera moved in my unsteady hands, the dead pixels spread, marring the screen wherever the Mickey's outline moved to. Then the camera died, went blank and quiet, had broken. I'll let you go and read the funny thing.
I'll read the rest of the story because it's like short.
Okay.
Okay. I raised my eyes once again to the Mickey Mouse costume. Hey, it said in a hush, perverted but perfectly executed Mickey Mouse voice. Want to see my cock come off?
God dang it, I knew you were going to say it. I knew you were going to transplant that bad boy into that.
Oh, so serious.
Want to see my head
I don't
come
know why I
off?
did that.
Want to see my cock come off?
Hey, it said in a hushed, perverted, but perfectly executed Mickey Mouse voice. Want to see my head come off? It started to pull at its own head,
No.
working its clumsy, glove-clad fingers around its neck with clawing, impatient movements, similar to a wounded man trying to pull himself free of a predator's jaws. As it worked its digits into its neck, so much blood, so much thick, chunky, yellow blood. I turned away.
Coincidentally, those first two adjectives are what I used to describe you.
I turned away.
Thick and chunky, baby.
I turned away as I heard a sickening tearing of cloth and flesh. Only cared about getting away. Above the doorway, out of the room, I saw the final message clawed into the metal with bone or fingernails. Abandoned by God. I never got the picture out of the camera. I never wrote the blog entry about it. After I ran from that place, fled for my sanity, if not my very life, I knew why Disney didn't want anyone to know about this place. They didn't want anyone to get like me getting in. They didn't want anything like that getting out. And that's the end. Dude, it is so cool. That is awesome.
Yeah, especially when the skull fell at his feet and he started talking like a pirate. That was awesome. That's my favorite part. I didn't know that part was in the story, and I didn't. That was awesome.
I never read the story before. Okay, but pirate aside, that was an amazing creepypasta.
That was pretty
That was
cool.
awesome.
That was pretty sick.
That was the perfect way we could have ended this. Like, we chose the perfect thing to end off on. It's not even, like, creepy in a way.
It shattered at me feet.
Shut up.
What are you saying? It's creepy.
Oh, yeah, it is.
You're weird.
It's weird, but I mean, reading this, I'm not like, ooh, shiver me timbers. But no, that's cool. Want to see my head come off and abandoned by God? That is, oh my God.
Yeah, it was awesome until you ruined it with want to see my cock come off.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that really took me out of it.
I had to.
You didn't have to,
part
though.
of me
You
was
didn't,
like,
though.
Part of me was like, should I do this? I probably shouldn't. But then I just said it because, like, you want to see my cock come off?
You need serious help. And speaking of serious help, that is where we are going to end off this
Pepsi.
this episode of the podcast.
Next year, next Halloween, we'll be reading the sequel to Abandoned by Disney and its other sequels. We'll probably just read the whole thing next year because, like, I am
Next
entirely
year
interested
we're gonna
in this.
read every single creepypasta.
All of them. Okay, so apparently a
Is that
few
all of them?
suggestions is an Abandoned by Disney prequel. So that's something.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was genuinely
All right.
amazing. Like,
Yeah, I like that. That was cool and awesome and sick and...
so do we want to talk about the things that scared us as a kid, or do we just end it off here? We're an hour and 25 minutes in.
I think we can leave that off
All right.
here. Maybe we can pull that discussion into the next video
Yeah, we could,
or the next episode.
okay, are we doing the thing where we release this on Halloween, then have another episode Sunday?
Yeah, we're releasing this on... We can release this on Halloween?
And then do another episode on Sunday.
When is Halloween?
And, like,
Yeah.
next week. On Thursday.
Want to see my cock come out?
Yeah.
Sorry.
We hope y'all enjoyed.
Yeah? You want to see that?
No. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode of Colton Cast. Sorry we've been gone for so long. Genuinely, that's just...
Yeah, I was in a car crash.
Yeah, what is it with
I was getting my feet severed.
What is it with you and car crashes? First it was
I don't know.
Josh.
Violent car crashes are a crazy way to go.
Bro, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're gonna die in a car crash.
If I die in a car crash, I give you permission to laugh at my funeral.
I will. Don't worry. I was gonna do that without your permission.
All right. I'm gonna kill you. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Good luck sleeping tonight.